I've been driving trucks for almost 15 years now, and I've seen plenty of strange things on the road. Weird lights in the sky over Nevada. Animals that dart across the highway and disappear before you can identify them. Abandoned vehicles sitting in the middle of nowhere with their doors hanging open. You learn to file these things away and keep moving. But what happened to me 3 winters ago on Interstate 90 in Montana, that one I couldn't file away. That one stayed with me. It was February, bitter cold, the kind of night where the air itself seems to freeze. I was hauling refrigerated goods from Seattle to Minneapolis, running behind schedule because of weather delays. By the time I hit the Montana stretch, it was well past midnight, and I hadn't seen another vehicle in over an hour. Just darkness, snow, and the yellow line disappearing into my headlights. That's when I saw him. He was standing on the shoulder near mile marker 212. No car in sight, just a man in a thin jacket waving his arms. My first instinct was to keep going. You hear stories, you know, but it was negative 15 degrees out there. Leaving someone stranded in that kind of cold felt like leaving them to die. I pulled over. He jogged up to the cab, and I rolled down my window just a crack. He was younger than I expected, maybe mid-30s, with pale skin and dark hair that was wet with melting snow. His eyes caught the light from my dash in a strange way. "My car broke down about a mile back," he said, his breath pluming white. "My phone's dead. I've been walking for almost an hour. Please, I just need a ride to the next town." Against my better judgment, I unlocked the door. He climbed up into the passenger seat, and immediately I noticed how he didn't shiver. His jacket was soaked through, but he sat perfectly still, perfectly calm, like the cold didn't touch him at all. "Thank you," he said. "I'm David." "Frank," I replied, pulling back onto the highway. "Next town's about 40 miles. You got someone who can pick you up?" "I'll figure something out," he replied. We drove in silence for a few minutes. I kept my eyes on the road, but I could feel him watching me, not glancing over occasionally the way passengers do, but staring, studying, like he was memorizing the details of my face. "You've been driving this route a long time," he said suddenly. "Almost 8 years," I answered, surprised. "How'd you know?" "Just a guess." He paused. "You seem comfortable out here. Most people would be nervous, driving through all this emptiness in the middle of the night. You get used to it, do you?" His voice had an edge to it now, something I couldn't quite place. "Do you ever think about how easy it would be to disappear out here? No witnesses, no cameras, just miles and miles of nothing." The hair on the back of my neck stood up. "Can't say I think about that much." "I do," he said quietly. "All the time." I tightened my grip on the wheel. Something was wrong. I could feel it in my gut. That ancient instinct that tells you when you're in the presence of something dangerous. "There was a woman," he continued, still staring at me, "who used to drive this same route. Red hair, green eyes. She picked me up once, about 3 years ago, right around this same stretch of road." I didn't respond. My heart was beating faster now. "She was kind, like you. Trusting." He tilted his head. "You remind me of her." "What happened to her?" I asked, my voice coming out steadier than I felt. He smiled. It wasn't a pleasant smile. "She stopped driving this route." The truck felt smaller suddenly, the walls closing in. I glanced at my phone mounted on the dash. No signal. Of course not. This far out, there never was. "I should tell you something, Frank," he said, leaning slightly closer. "I lied earlier. My car didn't break down. I don't have a car." "Then how?" "I've been waiting," he said simply, "for the right person to stop." My blood ran cold. I could feel sweat forming on my palms despite the chill. "There's a rest stop in about 12 miles, I said, keeping my voice level. "I'm going to drop you there." "That's fine," he replied, still smiling. "I'm patient." Those 12 miles felt like 100. He didn't say anything else, just sat there watching me, occasionally humming something tuneless under his breath. Every shadow on the roadside made me flinch. Every gust of wind against the cab made my heart skip. When the rest stop finally appeared, a tiny island of light in the darkness, I pulled in and stopped near the entrance. There were 2 other trucks parked there, their lights on, engines running. Witnesses. Safety. "This is your stop," I said, not looking at him. He didn't move right away. Then, slowly, he reached for the door handle. Before he climbed out, he turned back to face me. "You're smarter than she was," he said. "That's why you get to keep driving." Then he stepped down into the night and walked toward the tree line at the edge of the lot. I watched in my mirrors as his silhouette faded into the shadows. He didn't go into the rest stop. He didn't approach the other trucks. He just disappeared into the darkness between the pines. I sat there for 20 minutes, doors locked, engine running, before I could bring myself to start driving again. When I finally pulled back onto the highway, I called dispatch on my CB and reported what had happened. They told me to file a report when I reached my destination. I did. The police took my statement. They searched the area around mile marker 212, but found no evidence of anyone stranded there. No footprints in the snow. No abandoned vehicle. Nothing. A few weeks later, I was talking to another driver at a truck stop in Wyoming. When I described the man, the pale skin, the dark hair, the way he didn't seem to feel the cold, his face went white. I picked up someone matching that description 2 years ago, he said quietly. Same stretch of road. Same story about a broken down car. What happened? He shook his head. I don't like to talk about it, but I don't drive that route at night anymore. Neither do I. I've always loved the quiet of late night driving. There's something peaceful about it. Just you in the road and the hum of your engine. The rest of the world sleeping while you push through the darkness toward wherever you're going. For most of my career as a trucker, that quiet was a comfort. But after what happened in the winter of 2019, I started to dread it. I was running a load from Denver to Salt Lake City, a route I knew well. The weather had been clear when I left, but by the time I hit the Utah border around midnight, a thick fog had rolled in, the kind of fog that swallows your headlights and makes the world feel like it. Ends 20 feet in front of your bumper. I slowed down and kept my focus on the faded yellow line, trusting it to guide me through. The CB radio crackled occasionally with distant voices. Other drivers checking in, sharing updates about road conditions. Normal chatter, comforting in its way. Then, around 1:30 a.m., a new voice came through on channel 19. Anyone out there on the 80? I'm looking for someone to talk to. The voice was soft, almost whispery, and something about it made me uneasy from the first syllable. It wasn't the usual trucker cadence, gruff and practical. This was different, gentle, almost pleading. I didn't respond. Neither did anyone else. A few minutes later, the voice came back. I know someone's listening. I can tell. Please, I just need to hear another voice. It's so quiet out here. Against my better judgment, I picked up my handset. This is Big Mike on the 80 westbound. You doing okay out there? The response came immediately, like they'd been waiting. Big Mike. That's a good name. Strong name. Thank you for answering. No problem. What's your 20? I'm close, the voice said. Closer than you think. Something about those words sent a chill through me. I glanced in my mirrors, but the fog was too thick to see anything. Just gray emptiness pressing in from all sides. You need help? I asked. If you're broke down, I can call it in. No, I'm not broke down. I'm just traveling, like you, looking for someone to share the journey with. I didn't like the way they said that. Didn't like the intimacy in their tone, like they knew me, like they'd been watching. Well, safe travels, I said, trying to end the conversation. I'm going to. Don't go, Big Mike. The voice cut me off, and now there was something else in it. Something harder. I don't like being alone, and you don't want to leave me alone. Trust me. I set down the handset and turned off my CB. The silence that followed was somehow worse than the voice. I drove for another 10 minutes, white-knuckling the wheel, trying to convince myself I just encountered some lonely weirdo with a radio and too much time on their hands. Then my CB crackled to life again. I hadn't turned it back on. Why did you leave me, Mike? The voice was clearer now, closer, like whoever was speaking was right next to my ear. I stared at the radio, my heart pounding. The power switch was definitely in the off position. I don't like being ignored. I've been ignored too many times. By too many people. I reached for the radio, intending to rip it from the mount. But before I could touch it, the voice spoke again. Check your mirrors, Mike. I didn't want to. Every fiber of my being screamed at me not to look. But my eyes moved anyway, drawn to the side mirror like a magnet. Through the fog, I could see headlights. Not behind me on the road, beside me. Right beside me, in the lane that shouldn't have had anyone in it. Matching my speed exactly. I couldn't see the vehicle through the fog. Just those lights, hovering in the gray like the eyes of something watching. There we go, the voice said through my dead radio. Now we're traveling together. I don't know how long this went on. It felt like hours. I kept driving because I didn't know what else to do. The headlights stayed beside me, never falling back, never pulling ahead. The voice kept talking, rambling. Really, about loneliness, about the road, about all the people who had failed to stop for them over the years. "You're not like the others, Mike." You answered. "That means something." Finally, I saw lights ahead. A truck stopped, bright and beautiful, emerging from the fog like a mirage. I took the exit so fast I nearly lost control, and I didn't stop until I was parked, directly under the brightest light in the lot, surrounded by other trucks and other people. When I looked back at the highway, the headlights were gone. The fog was lifting. The night looked normal again, but my CB was still off. And when I checked it later, the wiring inside was fried, like something had overloaded it, burned it out from the inside. I reported the incident to other drivers, posted about it on forums, tried to find anyone else who'd experienced something similar. A few people reached out, stories of strange voices on Channel 19, of vehicles that appeared from nowhere and followed too close, of whispered conversations that came through radios that shouldn't have been working. No one had answers. No one knew what it was. I replaced my CB, but I don't use Channel 19 anymore. Whenever I hear voices on that frequency late at night, I change the channel immediately. I don't respond. I don't engage. Because somewhere out there, on some fog-covered stretch of highway, something is still traveling, still looking for someone to share the journey with. And I have no intention of being found again. I never wanted to be a trucker. It wasn't some childhood dream or family tradition. It was just the job that was hiring when I needed work. And the money was good enough to make the long hours worthwhile. By the time this happened, I'd been doing it for about 3 years, hauling freight up and down the West Coast, learning the rhythms of the road the way you learn the rhythms of anything you do long enough. But there are some rhythms that don't belong, some patterns that feel wrong from the first moment you notice them. I was driving through Oregon on Highway 97, heading south toward California. It was late, probably around 1 in the morning, and the road was empty except for me and the endless stretch of pines pressing in from both sides. The moon was bright that night, bright enough to cast shadows, and every few miles I'd catch glimpses of deer watching from the tree line, their eyes reflecting my headlights like tiny mirrors. That's when I first noticed the truck behind me. It was far back at first, maybe half a mile, just a pair of headlights in my side mirror. I didn't think anything of it. Other trucks on the road weren't unusual, but as the miles passed, I started to realize something strange. The distance between us never changed. When I sped up, those headlights stayed exactly where they were. When I slowed down, same thing. It was like we were connected by an invisible tether, maintaining the same gap no matter what I did. I told myself I was being paranoid. Maybe the other driver was just keeping a steady pace. Maybe we happened to be going the same speed. Coincidences happen. But then I pulled off at a rest stop to use the bathroom and grab some coffee. And that's when the coincidence theory fell apart. The truck pulled off too. It didn't come into the parking area. It stopped on the shoulder of the exit ramp, maybe 200 yards away. Its headlights pointed directly at the rest stop. At me. I sat in my cab for a few minutes, watching. The truck didn't move. Its lights didn't dim. It just sat there, waiting. Eventually, I convinced myself I was overreacting. I got out, walked quickly to the restroom, and handled my business as fast as possible. The whole time, I kept glancing toward the exit ramp. The headlights were still there, unmoving. When I returned to my truck, I noticed something that made my stomach drop. There were fresh tire tracks in the gravel. Near my cab, tracks that hadn't been there before. Someone had driven up close to my truck while I was inside, then pulled back to the exit ramp. I climbed into my cab, locked the doors, and pulled out of that rest stop as fast as I could. The truck followed. For the next 40 miles, it stayed behind me, maintaining that same impossible distance. I tried calling 911, but my cell signal was weak and the call kept dropping. I tried reaching other drivers on my CB radio, but the channel was nothing but static. Then, around mile marker 89, the truck started getting closer. I watched in my mirror as the gap between us shrank. Half a mile became a quarter mile. A quarter mile became a few hundred feet. The headlights grew larger, brighter, until they filled my mirrors with white glare. I pushed my speed as high as I dared, but the truck matched me. It was so close now that I could see the silhouette of the cab in the glow of its own lights. But I couldn't see the driver. The windshield was just dark, like there was no one behind the wheel at all. Then, without warning, the truck started flashing its high beams. On and off, on and off. A slow, deliberate pattern that felt almost like communication, like it was trying to tell me something. I don't know how long this went on. It felt like hours, but was probably only minutes. The flashing lights, the roar of two engines pushing through the night, the overwhelming sense that something terrible was about to happen. And then I saw Salvation, a way station ahead, brightly lit, with several vehicles pulled over and figures moving around inside the booth. I took the exit so fast my cargo shifted. The moment I pulled into the station, I started honking my horn, flashing my own lights, doing everything I could to attract attention. The workers came out. The other drivers looked over. I pointed toward the highway, toward the truck that had been following me. But when I looked back, the road was empty. No headlights, no rumbling engine, nothing. It was gone. The way station workers were sympathetic but skeptical. They radioed to a patrol car in the area, but no one found any truck matching my description. They took my statement, offered me coffee, and told me I could stay as long as I needed. I stayed until dawn. In the weeks that followed, I started asking around. Other drivers, truckers who'd been working the same routes for decades. Most of them shrugged it off, but a few knew exactly what I was talking about. The shadow truck, one old-timer called it, shows up on empty stretches late at night, follows you for miles. No one's ever gotten a good look at the driver. What does it want? I asked. He just shook his head. Nobody knows. The ones who found out, well, they're not around to tell us. I don't know if I believe in ghost stories. I don't know if what followed me that night was something supernatural, or just a very disturbed person with too much time and a dark sense of humor. But I do know this. I don't drive that stretch of 97 at night anymore. And whenever I see headlights in my mirror that stay a little too steady, a little too constant, I find the nearest exit and I take it. Some questions aren't worth answering.